In conversation with Efua Mills-Robertson. From a young age, Efua has always been a keen storyteller, expressing this through various mediums such as performance art, creative craft, lesson plans, graphic designs, and writing. As a primary school teacher, this passion for storytelling continues to be a driving force in our work. She has also channeled her creativity into writing, having authored three picture books and three accompanying activity books illustrated by her cousin. This book features a Ghanaian British family, reflecting Efua's desire to showcase Ghanaian culture. And on today's episode of Auto Interview, it's my utmost pleasure, joy, and excitement to have on the show today Efua Mills-Robertson. How are you doing today, Efua? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Peter. I'm doing really well today. It's Sunday, it's a bank holiday tomorrow, so
Yeah. It's an amazing one, really. Quite lovely we are here to see it and
Mhm.
have a conversation around your beautiful titles. Having met at the Black British Book Festival, that was quite
Mm.
great, yeah?
It's a lovely first time up in Manchester, so it was really lovely
Oh,
to see people there. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. So, F, I need to first say that I was taken aback by the description page of your book, My Sister, the Super Speedy Racer, on Amazon, which touches actually on the joyful celebration of simple relationships, which I think it's very important, really. Now, I would like to start this conversation by asking you what inspired you to write this book? What's the foundation to the making of it? What led you to writing, to penning the story down? And what is your mission entirely with this book? I think I've got a trunkload of questions in there, really.
Yeah, I'll try and answer them all. Well, this specific book, it started with like most books, what if? So
Mm,
I was in the train and I saw that a mummy had a pushchair, and when the train moved, the pushchair moved as well. And she quickly jumped to lock it. And so my mind, creative mind, thought, oh, what if she didn't lock it in time? What if the pushchair went out the train? What if it went through the station? What if it went around? So a story began from there of a runaway pushchair, and people chase the parents and the siblings are chasing the pushchair, and then maybe the pushchair goes into a race. So that's what kind of formed my idea. I had the idea, I thought I should write it in a story, and I was like, "Ugh, I'm not a writer. I do stuff at school where we teach the children to be writers and write their
yeah.
stories, but myself, I can't be a writer. I'm not good with grammar. I'm not good. I had all the excuses. But I had an encouragement from another author who is a teacher as well. And she wrote
Mm,
her story. And again, she was also not sure she could do it. So I thought, let me
mm.
do it. Let me try. And so I tried, I put it to paper. I had support from people, I had support from the class I was teaching at the time. And
Wow.
I looked at the process of self publishing, had
Mm.
my cousin who came to help. So it was something that came from just the idea and let me try and see what it is. And now it's become this series, which I really enjoyed and just love the
Wow.
journey that it's taken me on.
Wow, that's a lovely one, really. I love your take on that. Quite beautiful how stories spot out. Quite beautiful how people can just stand up and they start writing. It's always
Mm.
lovely to sit back and hear a different author's idea, their take, their introduction into writing. It's always very fun. Thank you for sharing your story. I love the sound of it. And also,
Mhm.
you also have another book titled The Frimpong Trip to Return, which takes readers on a journey through Ghana. I wanted to ask you, what do you hope young readers, especially those in the diaspora, take away from that story? Could you please tell us about the themes embedded in it?
So I wanted to showcase a side of Ghana that many people may not have seen before.
Yeah.
Um, I had students who were either from Ghana or have visited Ghana, but people who had never heard of Ghana. So I just wanted to show them what I loved about Ghana. I was born there and I moved here into the UK when I was a little child, but we go back as a family. And what I loved was the food, the culture, the arts and crafts, and the nature that's there as well, and
Mm.
the family. So those kind of aspects I wanted to show in that story. And
Interesting.
I've also put in the book as well at the back, I've got like an author's note where I talk about how in Ghana, there in 2019, President Nana Akufo-Addo, he
Yeah.
had an initiative called the Year of Return, where
Mm.
he was encouraging people from the diaspora, if they've seen that their roots are from Ghana or if they just want to come and visit Ghana, he encouraged them to come to Ghana and just find your roots. And so
Wow.
that's where the title is kind of inspired, the trip of return. So the family returning to their roots. And I also have at the end of the book where the family visit Cape Coast Castle, which was
Wow.
a former slave castle, and it the family the so the story is written in a point of view as the boy, his scrapbook.
Oh.
And when they're going through the castle, they see different things, and he talks about how it made him sad to hear about people were treated that way. But the last part, and I'll read a bit of it, it says, there's a door that says door of no return. And this is the
Mm.
door that the enslaved people were put through into the boats and not to return. So
Yeah.
I've put on the last page is, as we looked through the door, I thought of the people that left this place. I thought of their family, their children, and their children's children. I
Mm.
thought of my relatives in Ghana and around the world. I
Mm.
thought of us, the Frimpong family, standing at this door. We had
Mm.
showed them all that you can indeed return. And
Wow.
that powerful of where Ghana is a country of resilience.
Mm.
The trials of the past, despite that, there is a joy and a resilience in that country. And that's what I wanted to showcase in that book.
Wow. That's a lovely one. I like the fact that you had to take us back into history, take us back
Mm.
to the foundation of it. That sounds to me to be quite beautiful. Thank you so much. Please show the book again to the camera, the front cover. Yeah, the free punk trip of return. Quite beautiful. I love the cover of it. Would you like to talk
Mm.
about the making of the cover? Because I think every artwork has a story behind it.
Mm. Yeah, so I created the cover. So my cousin
Mm.
who illustrates the story. So that
Mm.
the way we've presented the story is like a scrapbook. So it looks like
Okay.
all the different pictures are being stuck into the book. So
Mm.
I wanted the cover to be showing that scrapbook nature as well. So you've
Yeah.
got the different pictures, and in the middle I've got the outline of Ghana, and then you can see the star as
Yeah.
well, and
Yeah.
the family's name
Flag.
and the title as well. So that's why I wanted to go for like a book cover, like
Mm.
a book in a book kind of
Yeah.
cover that also showcases the colors, and you've got the colors of the Ghana flag with the red,
Yeah.
yellow,
Yeah.
green, and the star all
Quite
there.
artistic. It's really represent Ghana as a country. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And Hefa, you spent a lot of time in the classroom. I wanted to ask you, how has working with young children influenced the kind of story you love to tell? I'm just curious.
So as a teacher, especially I teach primary school, so there
Oh,
is with the English writing is part of the things that we teach them, and
yes, yeah,
it's kind of like a weekly thing. They have to write something, so it's
yeah,
something that we do all the time. But I think with children, when they know that someone is an author, you know, oh, they worked hard to get that, to get there.
yeah, yeah,
Someone looked through, someone valued their work to publish it. So when I was going through the process and I published a book, and then they saw that I was an author, they were like, my teacher is an author. It was something that really inspired, made them see, oh wow,
yeah.
something
I
that is
understand the
possible.
feeling.
Yeah, because they see authors as someone that's something that's unreachable. It's just the famous people do it. It's
Mm,
David Walliams. It's Mallory Backman. Those are the people who are authors, the ones we read in school. But to think my teacher is an author, and so it was them who mainly inspired the story and the process that I've been through. So the first book, my sister, the Super Speedy Racer, the original version is completely different to what we got here, which is like with most books. But
mm,
I had given them my first draft. I've asked them what is their thoughts. So some of the rhyme and the repetition was their idea. Also, they helped me name. I did a little competition to name. We have a
yeah.
cat in the family. So I said, what should we call the cat? And we put some names in a hat, and the name I pulled out was Lucky. And so
Oh,
I've dedicated this book to them as well, because
oh
without them,
wow.
without their encouragement, when they first saw the book, they were in awe. And I was even looking back this weekend of
Yeah.
the school I was at was very supportive at the time, and they wrote letters to parents to say that Miss Mills-Robertson has done this. If you want to purchase her book, you can buy it. And a lot of people purchased it. And when you go around the different classes and you see children with my book, and it's like, this is so weird. So it was,
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
lovely
they
one.
really they seriously inspired me in the
Yeah,
journey.
I could
Yeah.
resonate with when you talk about, you were very excited. Oh, my teacher is an author. That reminds me of my exhibition at the Nigerian International Book Fair. So while I was on my stand, these children from secondary schools and primary school, they always come around. So they were like, one of them were like, oh my God, you're an author. It's nice to
Mm-hmm.
meet you. Then I think he went to go and call his mom. Then his,
Yeah.
his mom came to come and meet me. Then later, he too told the news because the people came from news, the Chinex TV. They came
Mm.
around. So the lady told me that it was one boy that told that there's an author down there, someone over there, like Author
Mm.
Peter. We met him in his town. We took picture with him. You want to go and meet him? So they came to come and interview. I was like, oh, okay, that's quite lovely.
Mm.
Of the little boy who told them that there's an author down over there, stand so. Go meet
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. But that's interesting because sometimes they don't expect the author to be the one selling the
Ah,
book. So I've had similar experience when I was in Ghana. I've been selling books, and then they'll be like, "Oh, you're the one who wrote it," or I'll be
yeah,
told,
you know.
"You write this," and which is why festivals like the Book Festival is really important for especially smaller authors who are
Yeah,
not of a big publishing group, for their
yeah,
chance to meet directly their customers and also to get their stuff out there and get themselves out there, and to see how accessible it is to be an author and to
yeah,
encourage other writers, even from young age. And that's what I've loved the most. Children from a
absolutely.
young age being inspired. And I said, you don't need to wait till I get to my age. You can
Mm,
start now
you can
because you
start.
lack fear. You don't have all
Yeah,
the fear that I have of, oh, what if it doesn't go well? What about the money? You can write without the fear, and it can be published. And I really love
yeah.
it.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I was in GSS1, the novel, not really a big novel, but it's a very small novel that was recommended to us. It was written by a young girl of 9 years old. And I was like, I could still remember. Then when I look at the back, I was like, oh, this girl, she's 9 years. I think that's her then. I should be a bit older than her. I was like,
Mm,
oh, that's amazing. She's the one that wrote this book. That's lovely. It's always a beautiful feeling. Very
mm.
beautiful feeling. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing. And also, you often weave Ghanaian culture and even the Fanti language into your books. Was it challenging to balance bilingual storytelling for young readers?
It was. So
Oh,
I understand Fanti, and but
oh,
the speaking it is where I struggle sometimes. But I know that there's parents who really want their children to be bilingual in those two languages.
yeah.
And I think with some of the Ghanaian languages, it's not really common for it to be written. So that was a bit of a struggle to find someone who'll be able to translate the English
Oh,
and
wow.
translate it into Chi and into Fanti. But once it was done, there were
Mm,
parents and other education workers who saw that there was a benefit, especially for where parents are teaching their
yeah,
children that, especially for me as well, I need to see the words and to see the sound. So, for example, this is the
absolutely.
tree version, which I'll try and pronounce Minyaba, and I can't pronounce that thing
Oh,
properly without being embarrassed. But I know the Minyaba, which means my sister. And
oh,
then it's
wow.
nice for me to help it sound out and to see the sounds. So tree is not my main language, so I don't want to mess up the sounds of it. But
Yeah.
it allows the parents who are bilingual to help their children to see how the words are. So we've got the English and we've got the tree as well in the book. But it helps, like I said, it helps the parents who want to raise their children to be bilingual and to see it as well. With
Mm,
the story is another way for them to
absolutely.
access it. Yeah.
Oh, well, I love your take on that. Sounds to me to be quite beautiful, quite lovely, and quite amazing. I like the fact that you had to utilize that. It's a lovely technique, yeah. It's a very lovely one. Now let's talk about your cousin. You work with illustrators like your cousin, now Mills-Robertson. What's your collaboration process like, especially when you're trying a vision into visual, trying to turn one into reality, etc. What was it like for you?
So I wouldn't have done my books without my cousin. Nab
Wow.
is in university. He studied art, but he had never done a book project before. He liked to draw, and so he
Wow.
came to mind when I thought, oh, I have a story. And I was like, oh, I have to go and find an illustrator. And people saying go to Fiverr, you can find these things. I was like, oh, that's a lot of effort. I was like, oh, I have a cousin who can draw. So I sent him the story, and I said, I'm thinking of writing a book. Do you
Mm.
think you could draw something to go with it? So he just drew me some sketches and I saw it and I was like, yeah,
Oh,
we're gonna do
wow.
this.
You know,
We're going to do this. So I sent him some thumbnails for what I wanted each page to look like. So like a picture book layout. And I said this page this and this page that. But then he added his own elements as well into it.
that's
And so
great.
he for our first book, he paper sketched and then scanned the copies to me. And I have
Wow.
experience in my background with graphic design, so I know how to use Adobe products. So I
Mm.
used Illustrator and Photoshop to add color to his work and to make it into the book and format it and everything. But since then, he has up leveled his skill. He's got an iPad, so he's sketching
Oh.
digitally, which is why
Wow.
the two other books are digitally made. And so
Mm.
with that one, he sketches it, he adds his own color. So he had more, I'll say, creative control in the other two books because with the first book,
Mm.
I did all the colors. He had just done a pencil, black and white pencil sketch, and I had the colors. But
Wow.
with the two newest books, he was
Mm.
able to have more creative control and put more of his own create artistic flair onto it. And especially with the Frimpong strip of return, because he lives in Ghana,
Mm.
lots of the Ghanaian buildings, the culture, the food is very authentic. You can see little things like, oh yes, this is written, this is drawn by someone who knows Ghana really well.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, so we work together, and that's so I give him thumbnails. He brings me the sketch. I'll give him feedback back of what it is. Then he adds the color, and then I format it together. So which helps to cut costs. I'm not paying another person
Yeah.
format the book. I know how to do that. I'll use the different function software to format
Yeah.
the pictures, move it around, do the text, and then send it to the printers to get done. So it makes us
That's
have more control.
Yeah, I like the fact that you're able to incorporate him and you guys are able to work together in that regard. It's quite beautiful, really. That's
Makes it a family
amazing.
affair. He shares the same name as my dad. So when we were
Oh,
starting out, lots of people thought it was I was working with my dad. It's like, no, but I didn't know you drew. I say, no, that's my cousin, that's my nephew. That's for him, his nephew, my cousin. So we had to realize this is cousins
oh wow.
together. Yeah.
That's an amazing one. Thank you for
Mhm.
sharing. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Apart from the books we've mentioned so far, do you have any other works you've authored or say currently working on?
So very quite early on, I realized when I was going back into my Amazon like author page. So in around 2016, I did an ebook, like an e-comic book,
Yeah.
called The Week from Heaven, which
Oh,
is following Jesus during his Holy Week. And so
oh.
it's telling a modern retelling. So you've got, so at the time, Snapchat was really big, and
Mm,
something called Campfire was used for like workplaces. So there
mm.
was different ways we can tell the story of Holy Week through Snapchat, through Instagram story. Well, at the time it wasn't stories, but through stories, through blogs. So I've done like someone's doing a live blog of Jesus's crucifixion and what happened and everything. So that was
Oh,
like my
wow.
first creative book writing. So that's like an
Journey.
e-book that I've done. But I'm currently working on a middle grade, so for 8 to 12 year old book. And it's following a girl called Akusia who has sickle cell, but she doesn't allow that to hold her back. She's got big energy, big ideas. It's called Akusia's Big Ideas. And she has so many ideas and she wants to try and fulfill all of them, but she can't. And people are telling her to slow down because of her sickle cell, but she doesn't allow it to slow her down. And then I'm
Mm,
also working on a young adult story of a girl who's lost, well, older teenager, she's 19. She's lost her mum and her sister in a car crash. And
oh,
her dad is also having kidney failure. So she needs to find a kidney for him, but she never doesn't know much about her dad. He keeps a lot to himself. So it's kind
Mm.
of like a familial journey for her. And she finds out her dad was adopted and his original family is from Ghana. And she goes on a search to find his family and finds his twin and things and trying to hope that they will come and help with the kidney troubles and have a kidney transplant. So it's a bit of a discovery of her finding out her father's family and also bringing her closer to her dad as well.
Wow.
So there's my work in
Wow.
progress.
That's an amazing one. Really. I love the sound of that particular story. It sounds to be
Mm.
quite lovely and quite interesting. And it sounds like you've got a lot ongoing, really, which I find to be quite commendable. I hope you
Yeah.
find some times to sleep.
Yes. I have seen because everyone asks, how can you work on so many books at the same time? And I say it's like I have seasons. So I may be in my mind where I'm in the middle grade head, where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write my middle grade, and then that'll go
Yeah,
for and then I'll say, I have no more. Then I'll go back into my young adult writing and
yeah,
then picture book kind of stuff. So it's depending on where I am at and seasons
at the
and stuff.
moment. Quite lovely. Thank you so much for sharing. I love your take on that. And now I wanted to ask you, what sort of advice would you give struggling writers, just for people who are looking forward to writing and publishing a book, especially in the genre of children's literature?
I would say to just try, just go for it. So I think I
Great.
spent about 2 years giving myself so many excuses why I shouldn't go for it.
Right.
Yeah. So just to go for it, write something and write down your ideas. So at least you've got something. And then you can go out to the world to go and maybe ask friends to read it. If you've got children, writing children literature, if you have access to children to ask them to read it. I'm lucky because I'm a teacher because I've got all the
Yeah,
children
you
there,
know.
different age groups. So that I've got, can you read this? Ask me, I can ask them questions.
Yeah,
But the library was what I started off doing. I went to the library, saw what books were out there. So doing a lot of seeing what's out there. If there is a gap, what kind of things are they missing? Where would your book fit into the market at the time?
yeah,
Also, looking at the different researching the different ways you can get your book out there. So I didn't research, I just looked at one thing. I looked at self-publishing through Amazon. I wish I had gone and looked at what other avenues I can go
platforms.
down. I knew there was a traditional route where you go and look for an agent and find a
Yeah,
publishing house, but I wanted to get out there quite quickly. So
yeah,
I went, but there's other routes that you can go with. You can go with independent publishers who will also be similar, who will allow you to have a bit more control as well. But they will be in charge of like the printing, the marketing side, because that's what's hard, the marketing yourself and your book. Also research about different ways of writing, join groups. There's different lots of groups out there and websites that have free seminars, free talks where you can listen to different authors and their journey.
yeah,
So similar to your podcast that you're doing where people learn from different authors, but then
yeah,
also join groups where you have other authors who learn from each other. I'm
yeah.
part of a critique group. So it's 5 of us and we each month we meet together to critique each other's work. So we send in some extract of our work. We read it together and then we give each other feedback. And it's very
That's
supportive because we
lovely.
learn about different styles of writing and I learn about ways I can improve on your writing. So you know that it's not just something that you have to be able to do straight away. And I think that's what you feel like you need to be 100% straight away, but
Yeah,
it's no. And also you
yeah.
learn, especially when you listen to other authors, there's editors who make your work even better than it is. So you don't
Mm,
need to worry about, I need to submit something that's perfect. Submit
yeah.
your story. Yeah. So go, give it a go and then surround yourself with all the tools and support that you need.
Wow, that's a lovely one. I love your take on that. Quite
Yeah.
beautiful. You've got a lovely advice. I'm hoping that viewers, even including myself, would love to utilize it. Yeah. And just in case we have some viewers who are watching this interview, I would love to get a copy of any of your books. On what platform are they available on for purchase?
So they're available on Amazon internationally, and
Mm,
also you can purchase on my website, which is www.efuacreates.com, and you can fill in the form and get sent through there as well.
interesting. And I left a link in the description part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Efua Mills-Robertson books directly on Amazon, Barnes& and Nobles, on our website, and also on other platforms. I also left links to our social media pages for possible followings. So thank you so much, Efua, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. I'm also this conversation is more than awesome. Very great, quite exciting having this beautiful conversation with you around the amazing children's literature works. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's been really exciting and lovely to share my experience and talk with you.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure as well.